Okay, good afternoon. We'll call the meeting to order for February the 24th. It's 3 p.m. I'd ask Councillor Messaros to please read the land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. The town of Innisfail acknowledges that we are meeting on Treaty 7 territory, the ancestral and traditional territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Kainai, Piikani, Siksika, as well as the Tsuut'ina First Nation and Stoney Nakoda First Nation. We acknowledge that this territory is home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3, within the historical Northwest Métis homeland. We acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who have lived in and cared for these lands for generations. We are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today and those who have gone before us. We make this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation and gratitude to those whose territory we reside on.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Messaros. And we'll move on to 2.1. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Please have someone make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented, please. Councillor Wing.
Mayor Barclay, I'll make that motion.
Thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried. And I'll just make a mention that Councillor Bates is online today. So we'll keep an eye on him and make sure that we include him in our meeting. We'll move on to 3.1, the minutes of the regular council meeting for February the 10th, I should say. Could I please have someone make a motion that we adopt the minutes as presented? Councillor Heistad.
I'll make that motion that we accept those minutes of February 10th.
Thank you. Are there any changes? No? All in favor? Okay, carried. And then we'll move into 3.2, the special meeting that we had last week, February 18th. I'll please have someone make a motion that we adopt those minutes.
I'll move that. Thank you. I'll move that we adopt those minutes.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Okay, moving into 4.1, call on CEO Becker to give us his report.
Thanks, Mayor Barclay. Hello, Council. The report's there for your information. As you can see in the report, there's some reference to tariffs. Internally as administration, we'll be talking about procurement and tariffs as an organization in the forthcoming weeks, just to be really diligent on procurement. However, we want to make sure we understand what that may not look like for us, organization. Of course, continuing to learn what is before us, which is really hard to narrow that down. So just keep our ear to the ground and see what's going to happen. Administratively, SLT is busy building out work plans based on 2025 budget and things they're working on, and that they'll be presenting that information to council in forthcoming weeks too. So if there's any questions, council will be happy to answer your questions.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for CEO Becker? No? Please have someone make the recommended motion.
Mayor Barclay, I'll make that recommended motion that council approves the CAO report dated February 24th, 2025 as information.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Wing. All in favor? Okay, carried. And we'll move into 4.2, council action control. Are there any updates, CEO Becker, on anything that we need to know about?
I think there's a lot of red anticipated in most of the black. The one with broadband capacity, it's going to be meeting with TELUS this week just regarding their engagement with council. So it's just long and challenging to pinpoint a time for TELUS to come in to speak to you, but hopefully tomorrow or this week we'll find out more detail. But other than that, you can expect a lot of the black there to be moving into red. If there's any questions of council?
Great, thank you. Anybody have any questions? If not, I'll Councillor Heistad.
Oh, no questions. I was just going to make the motion to accept this.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. All in favor? All right, carried. We'll move on to 5.1 with Director Kennedy and the RFD for 42 Avenue.
Thanks, Mayor Barclay. So yeah, this project is a carryover from last year for work to be done along 42nd Ave from 51st Street to 53rd Street close. Through the detailed design through last year, it was determined that the alignment of the force main had to change at the railway crossing, creating a need to replace the water main as well. So we did tender the project in February, closed on February 11th, where we did receive 4 contractors submitting bids. Prices ranged from 1.2 million to 1.7 million. The tender was evaluated by Tagish, our consultant. Didn't see any unbalanced or items of concern, so did recommend awarding to the low price bidder by Paterni's. We did do a cost projection. That's prices that aren't included in this contract include the engineering and testing, the construction value, plus a contingency of 15%. It is above what I typically recommend. So we are agreeing with the consultant's recommendation to use 15, as there is still quite a complexity and unknowns of the railway crossing right now. So we are recommending that we move forward with that contingency as well. Financial impacts, it is under the budgeted amount of 1.75 million to be funded from the utility capital maintenance and repair. So we are recommending moving forward.
Right, thank you. Director Kennedy, can I please have someone make the recommended motion? Councillor Messaros.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I'd like to move that council approves the award of the 42nd Avenue Infrastructure Upgrades contract to Paterni's Inc. for $1,268,460 to be funded from the Utility Capital Maintenance and Repair Reserve.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions about this contract? Councillor Heistad?
Yeah, the only question I'd have is, I guess pricing is good for the Paterni contract. What I always find interesting in that gap, like that's a big variation, and I know we've done previous work with Paterni. Always my curiosity too is it's easier to work with groups and pricing when it's bang on, but with these other groups, Urban Dirt Works, United Utilities, and Grayson, have we ever done work with them in the past? Like that's I can recall Paterni's. I just couldn't remember if we've ever done any work with them.
Yeah, to Councillor Heistad. So yeah, we have done work with Urban Dirt Works in the past. They did our Eastgate lift station 2 years ago.
Okay.
Grayson did some work over on 53rd Ave 4 years ago for us. It really, their pricing comes down to what they see as risk, as well as the complexity of the project. So the normal range like this is fairly normal for projects of this complexity.
Thanks so much.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions? No, all in favor? Okay, carried, thank you. And then 5.2, RFD for 40th Street infrastructure.
Yep. Thanks, Mayor Barclay. So not as good as news in regards to this one. So this project is along 40th Street from 52nd Ave to 51st Ave. It is a replacement of the water main is the main focus, as we did have 3 main breaks last year, or over the last 2 years on this section. So risk is high for this project. We did look at it, tendered it in February, closed it on the 19th of February, where we did receive 7 contractors submitting bids. Again, big range from 847,000 up to $1.1 million almost. Again, tenders were evaluated, didn't see any concerns in regards to unbalancing, with a recommendation to go to Paterni's as well. We did include a full project cost anticipated with engineering, construction and contingency at the normal 10%, where we are recommending award to Paterni's. This project is over the estimated amount of $750,000. There is capacity within that infrastructure capital reserve to cover this additional cost for the project. 2 main areas of areas that were really the focus of the overrun were the sanitary main cost. When we did the pre-tender or the pre-budgeting for this project, we didn't anticipate having to replace a section of the sanitary main where it was lined, but through the winter we did camera the line and found that we do actually need to replace a section of line, as well as then open cutting some of the services. So that was kind of the main overruns in the project from our pre-budget, but it does look like good numbers though.
Okay, thank you, Director Kennedy. Can I please have someone make the recommended motion? Councillor Wing.
Mayor Barclay, I would move, that council approves the award of the 40th Street Infrastructure Upgrades Contract to Paternies Inc. for $847,700 to be funded from the Infrastructure Capital Maintenance and Repair Reserve, LGFF, and CCPF.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Director Kennedy? I don't see any. All in favor? All right, carried. Thank you. And now we'll move into 6.1 and invite Pallavi to come up and speak to us about amendments to Bella Vista. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. We are presenting with a report to Council today to give first reading to Bylaw 1732, 2025, to amend Bylaw 1579, 2015, the Bella Vista Area Structure Plan, ASP, to change 2 sites designated as residential multifamily district R3 to residential high-density district R4, and to establish a date for public hearing of this bylaw. The Bella Vista ASP was adopted in 2015, and this area includes about 51.2 hectares, and the area is planned as a community of single and multifamily residential usages, recreational, highway commercial opportunities, and other complementary land usage. With its adoption, the residential portion of the Phase 1 has been subdivided and developed into residential and commercial lots in open spaces, as you can see in the Figure 1 in the aerial map there. The landowner and developer of the undeveloped land within the area is proposing an amendment to the Bella Vista ASP to redesignate the 2 sites shown in the yellow and hatch over in the figure to change from R3 to R4. This change reflects the ongoing shifts in market conditions and the growing need for more affordable and diverse housing forms in the town. The amendment aims to update the overall concept for the Bella Vista Plan area to include the residential high-density district R4. The town's land use bylaw, according to the bylaw, R4 district allows for high-density and diverse range of residential developments, which includes single detached housing to row housing and apartments and others. Some key changes, mostly impacting the development with the change from R3 to R4 is shown in Table 1, along with a wider range of permitted and discretionary usages. R4 allows for increase in height of the developments from approximately 4 to 6 stories in apartments and approximately 3 stories to 5 stories in fourplexes and row housing. Moreover, the 2024 draft municipal development plan, Imagine Innisfail, also identifies the commercial section of the area as a neighborhood center and 42A Street as a neighborhood corridor. The proposed amendment aligns with the goal and objectives of residential land use policies within the draft NDP, which aims to accommodate a balanced mix of housing choices and encourage medium to higher density housing towards neighborhood centers and along neighborhood corridors. The proposed changes to the ASP includes the highlighted sections in the 4 areas below. Number 1 being the development concept, and the Table 2 of land use statistics replacing the R3 with R4. The next, Table 3, including R4 numbers in the residential units and population in the table. And finally, including the description of R4 in place of the existing R3 in section 3.3.4. The attached Schedule A identifies the area of change proposed to be made to Figure 1 development concept. According to the landowners, no proposed developments are planned for the two sites, and the existing layout and road network outlined in the adopted ASP will remain unchanged. An area structure plan is a statutory plan, meaning that to amend one requires a bylaw. So first reading is granted to a bylaw, and a date is established for public hearing to receive input on it. After the close of the public hearing, council may adopt the bylaw, alter and adopt the bylaw, or defeat the bylaw at second and third readings. We are anticipating the council gives first reading to the bylaw 1732-25 and establishes March 24th, 2025 as a date to hold a public hearing on the proposed amendments to the Bella Vista area structure plan. And there's two motions presented before you.
Okay, thank you, Pallavi. Could I please have someone make the first motion? Councillor Wing.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. I would move then that council gives first reading to bylaw 1732-2025, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 1579-2015, being the Bella Vista area structure plan, to change the two sites in the plan designated as residential multifamily district R3 to residential high density district R4.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions? Councillor Messaros.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay, to Pallavi. Thank you for the report. I just looking at the map, and yeah, exactly. Thank you, Juanita. And the placement, well, the area in question. And I was thinking back to some of the discussions that we've had when we've done other examinations of this nature. And I'm wondering if we approve this, or if this gets approved, could that landowner come and do a 6-story building there? And I'm asking that because I'm thinking about the studies that we did when we were putting up the 4-story in terms of the shadows and that kind of thing. So my question is just about whether that would be able to go forward based on what we decide today.
So at the moment, this change only affects the area structure plan, and the next steps, if the landowner decides, would be to subdivide the site in question, and then development permit is to be applied. So there will be definite processes that gives us a chance to review those details.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, Pallavi, I have a question. It might be a silly one and maybe not even applicable to where we're at in this process right now, but is there any potential of having the change conditional on the site being started within a certain frame time? Or it just seems that it's a lot of work for everybody to go through, and then there's no progress on it. But Director Jenkins?
Yeah, typically area structure plans or land use bylaws are not conditional approvals. They're bylaw approvals, so so they apply. Yeah, they don't have that ability to put a time mechanism.
I'm just curious, kind of why the change, and I'm hoping that because there's something.
They have been
brewing.
exploring some opportunities with various different investment parties.
Okay,
so,
good.
yep.
Okay, that's good to hear. Okay, so Councillor Heistad?
Yeah, the only comment I would say is I do see, I don't want to get before the March or potential March 25th date, but I do see potential there with the affordability piece that we're working on the Southwest region. So that's all I wanted to say, and that, yeah, I would approve this I approve. Thanks.
Okay, Councillor Wing?
Thank you, Mayor Barclay, and just through to Pallavi, just for clarification, the table 1 in this package. So currently, this particular plot of land is zoned as R3, and we're being asked to change it to R4. So the only significant difference is it's already currently zoned for apartment buildings and multi-story buildings. So what we're doing now is saying detached dwellings can be added. So that mixed-use development, as is outlined on that table. So I just wanted to be sure I read that right. So it's currently zoned as R3.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table. All in favor? Okay, carried, thank you. And then I'll just have someone please make the second motion for the public hearing. Councillor Messaros.
Sure, thank you, Mayor Barclay. I'd like to move that council establishes March 24th, 2025 at 3 p.m. in the council chambers of the town office, being 4943 53rd Street, Innisfil, Alberta, as a public hearing date and location to receive input on bylaw 1732, 2025.
All right, thank you. Any questions? All in favor? All right, carried. Thank you, Pallavi. Okay, and we'll move into correspondence and information. I'll just have somebody please make a motion that we accept the correspondence as information. Councillor Heistad?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the correspondence and information.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Okay, carried. And then we will move into our council reports, and we'll begin with Councillor Wing today.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. Actually, this has been a very quiet couple of weeks, so I have the Innisfil Public Library meeting tomorrow night and Parkland Library Board meeting on Thursday. That's my week. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Heistad?
Thanks, Mayor Barclay. The big thing for me, you know, of course, Family Day celebration, open house at with the RCMP, and then I was encouraging feedback on our pump track that we were advertising, not only through our website but also in the communication with the citizens. And last night the Eagles won, so good game. But I do have a questions for administration on the pump track. What would be our next steps with communication and then steps forward with us as a council? And I guess would be my question to Director Kennedy on that one, as to you know, decision on, you know, track or areas and that next steps. I'm just curious.
Yep.
Thanks.
So to Councillor Heistad, so really we're looking just for some feedback as part of the next process. Really, we'll take that information, come back to council along with the Rotary Club to find out kind of what the feedback is. We are planning to roll out a little more communication this week, meeting with Ken tomorrow to see what that looks like, as well as we've chatted with the Rotary Club about how they can roll it out, a little more information from them as well. And really, it's taking information in regards to, is there a preferred area? What kind of information we can provide council in regards to public feedback in just regards to it. So no commitment right now in regards to anything on there. It's just really getting some public feedback and seeing what direction the Rotary Club wants to go in regards to the project.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Bates.
I assume you can hear me. I have the written report in, and fortunately a quiet week with this cold. I do have a note that this Friday we're meeting to review the Alberta budget. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's two sessions, Councillor Bates, one at noon with Alberta Council and then one at 3 with Alberta municipalities.
Okay, thank you.
And you can do that at home if you'd rather. We'll see how you're...
Well, I'm hoping.
Yeah, okay. Okay,
I won't come in and give you a cold.
all right. Okay, thank you. And Councillor Messaros?
Thank you. I don't have anything to add to my report.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Dunham's away today. I think I just want to maybe highlight the FCM virtual listening tour that I was on last week. It was about a 90-minute session with the Prairies Territories region, of course, all around tariffs and what's going on in the U.S. or what might be going on. So I've kind of put an overview there of all the subjects that were touched upon, and I can assure everybody that FCM is very involved in advocacy work. And I think it was last week or this week there was someone going down to attend the U.S. Mayor's Conference. There's also people going down to the National Association of Counties, and then lots of kind of one-on-ones, especially for those mayors that are close to the border. There's actually a border mayors caucus, and they're having lots of discussion with their people on the other side. So you think of Windsor, Ontario as a prime example, and Detroit, and one thing that they certainly kept reiterating to us is people on the other side of the border that they're dialoguing with don't want this either. So it's really a matter of, kind of that ground game and getting people to understand really how this will impact both countries in a negative way. So looking forward to maybe more of those coming up and catching on to them. So I will leave my report as is for the rest of it. But we'll move into open mic session. Does anybody have anything they would like to say? Open mic, we have a couple of people in the gallery today. Welcome, Ron King.
Thank you, Mayor Jean. To Director Kennedy, just a clarification on the contingency fund on those two structure upgrades. One's 10, one's 15. Is the 15 just based on possible things that we don't know what's under there?
Correct. Yeah, it's just for unknowns that we don't have, and we don't carry it on the contract. So it's a budget number that we carry internally.
Thanks, Ron. Okay, we'll go into upcoming events. Please, Juanita. I'll just have someone make a motion that we accept the upcoming events for information. Councillor Bates.
Sure, I'll make that motion, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Just want to make sure you're in the meeting minutes. All in favor? Okay, carried. All right, and then we'll have a motion to go in camera, please.
I'll make that motion.
Or Heistad,
Oh,
sorry.
I beat you. I got the red on. Yeah,
Go for
there. Motion to go in camera.
Okay, all in favor?